Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, January 26th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple quick clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be moving around and changing, and the candlestick you see right there will be moving and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. Stock number one here, GOVX. Very, very big move on this one today, and now we have ourselves a good solid pattern here, which you got to think a lot of people are watching. And when lots of people are watching the same things and wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movement. So the first part that in my mind, a lot of people are going to be watching here headed into Thursday, right up there at that $1.30 mark as that key level of resistance. And then as far as the bottom part here of this pattern, you have this slight little uptrend line right there. So let me change that to green to represent more so the bullish dynamic of things. And then make this all the same color, maybe make it easier to see. So we have, again, our resistance. We have our support. We have the big explosion right there. And if you golfers out there, we'll make it a little bit more visual. Put the golf hole down here. So we have ourselves a good, solid bull pennant pattern. Again, no such thing as a guarantee, but is it valid? Is it logical to think that if the price can work its way back up to the top of the pattern and get a break up through it, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is absolutely a valid thought process to have. So if you like to play this price range, if you like bull pennant patterns, here you go. Next one, GMBL, and overall, the chart's fine, but there is a lot of perspective that goes into it and relatively tricky from a presentation standpoint because, like I said, it is all about your perspective. Meaning, if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought there, or maybe you bought right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within 2 minutes, well, then yes, from that perspective, the chart looks really, really bad. However, if you care about things from the bigger picture point of view, I understand. No doubt about it. Very big pullback today. But if you take a step back and look at things from an overall standpoint, in fact, let me just get rid of that line for now. And I'm not saying this will occur, but just to illustrate the point, let's say that the price even comes down further and comes down to that green line, which I talked about before, and that's where it starts to bottom out. Emphasis here on big picture, but from the big picture point of view, what do you still have? Well, you'd still have a set of lows here. You have that next set of lows down there, and then you have lows even lower than that back here. But if you envision each of those as stair steps, then big picture-wise, the stair steps are still progressing in the upwards direction. Again, I'm fully aware that buying right there as a day trader, you don't care about these stair steps. But that's why I'm trying to differentiate between a bigger picture and then more so somebody that's a day trader. So is this a bad or good-looking chart right now? That totally depends on what your strategy going into the trade actually was. Next one, MULN, and this is on the watch list for a very simple reasoning. This afternoon, the volume absolutely exploded into the chart. And looking back here through history, I mean, that was a respectable amount, still not anywhere close. Here are some respectable amounts back here. But point here being is this volume that's occurring right now has been the biggest that it's seen in a very, very long time, which allows us to ask the always exciting question, okay, is this surge of volume? Is this the start of something even bigger? No, I get it. Maybe that question seems anticlimactic, but think about what's got to first happen in order to be able to ask that question. Well, something actually worthwhile, something exciting needs to happen first, because if nothing happens, then it makes no logical sense to say, hey, is this the start of something bigger? Because is what the start of anything bigger, right? If there's no what, then there's nothing to talk about. But we do have a what here. And what is the what? The what is the huge surge in volume. So will this be the start of something bigger? Let's see what happens as far as levels of resistance are concerned now moving forward. Key level that still a ways away, but if it can get up to right around that 40-cent mark, that would be very impressive. And if it can get up through there, I think that would draw in just that many more eyeballs. But overall, no doubt about it, massive surge in volume. So yeah, let's see if this is the start of something even bigger. Next, SNOA, very brutal move here. With to think that the price exploded during that 30 minutes all the way up here after the gap up to think that there's some poor souls that were buying right there. And then from there down the prices went. But in doing so has created a good solid trend line. And let me be very clear, me drawing that trend line, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that's a special skill or a great discovery. The exact opposite. in my mind, a lot of people have drawn that trend line. So we circle back to that whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecies. And you got to think that a lot of people are probably watching that trend line. So once again, does that guarantee anything? No. But is it valid? Is it rational to think that the price can consolidate out, come up to that trend line, and then get a break up through it? That break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure and maybe give this thing, not even necessarily going back up to those highs, but even if it gets halfway up there, that would still be a very worthwhile movement. So if you like to play these sort of situations where there's certainly a big pullback, but a good, well-defined trend line for a trend line break and reversal, I'd keep an eye on it. Next one, AMC, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that have watched past videos, but if you did, especially the video from yesterday on Tuesday, talked about that green line there at $5.30, talked about how it's an important area of support, and so far so good. You can see opening 30 minutes, price bounce off it, and then as I speak right now, you can see that the price is hovering right down around the $5.30 mark, currently at $5.32. So that'll be definitely the big question moving forward is the price going to hold? Is history going to repeat itself like it did back here, where it found some support and then made a very nice bounce? I can see where people may be thinking that because it's happened before. Doesn't mean it'll happen again. No, but there's at least a precedent there. There's some logic behind thinking it could bounce. So I understand those people that are thinking it might bounce, but I also understand the people saying, well, I think if it breaks, that may, cause even more panic to the downside. I can also agree with that. So that's why risk management matters. Somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong, but the underlying dynamic here is that $5.30 is going to be a key level here headed into Thursday. If the price does break down below there, then next key overarching level of support is going to be that pink line down there, which on my chart denotes a very famous 200 period moving average, currently valued at 488. So overall, definitely an interesting dynamic here going on with $5.30. Can it hold? We'll see what happens. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online event that I'm offering on Thursday. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency, to manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So if, like I said, if you've been enjoying, then I want you to get signed up for the free live training. Next one, HLBZ, and the pullback continues. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that line as it's still pertains, just not relevant anymore. But the first big update that comes into play is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And we actually had that play out perfectly here. Price gap down below it. So at that point, you'd expect it to act as resistance. Price try to bounce around that opening 30 minutes. And you can see right there, found resistance before getting rejected back downwards. So now moving forward, if there is any sort of attempted move back to the upside, that's where the question mark is all about. Can the price have enough strength to be able to break above and stay above that 37-cent mark? In terms of levels of support, next key level to watch moving forward is going to be down here at, what is that? The 25-cent mark. So keep an eye on 25 cents as that next potential area. But if the price goes down to 25 cents and breaks through there, I'm still not going to say that the chart's destroyed because the price would still technically be above that 200 period moving average. But I will say things would start to look very, very shaky at that point in time. So 25 cents, I'm not going to call it a do or die level, but I would say it's a pretty important level if it does get tested. Next one, TSLA, Tesla, and what a recovery today. I mean, when you think about how the opening 30 minutes went, gap down, price was dropping. Next 30 minutes hit a low right there, and then just went all the way back up to that area of resistance that I talked about yesterday. So truly just a crazy day. Going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose. And I am going to make an adjustment now that we have more data. It's apparent that, yeah, this level that, is the true level of resistance right up there at 146.50. 146.50 was a rejection point here, but it was also the rejection point from a couple of days right there. So for whatever reason, 146.50 is where a lot of sellers are currently hanging out at. So if you're any sort of breakout player, then definitely keep an eye on that. As far as supports are concerned, the level here that seems to make the most sense right now to follow is that purple line there, the 50 period moving average. You can see that price slightly broke below it right there, but quickly recovered and then bounced off it again. Didn't bounce off it right there, but got somewhat close this morning. But like I said, overall, that would be the main area of support to watch. But in my mind, I think the most interesting dynamic is that 146.50 mark, and can the price get back up to it and then break through it? Next one here, AMZN, and like Tesla, crazy bounce. I mean, now this bounce makes a bit more sense. The price came down here to that pink line, which is the 200 period moving average, and you can see found some support. And then, I mean, check it out. Up it went. So just now our chart's perfect, but no, I'll use it as a quick plug. Get signed up for the free class. I mean, charts truly are a tool. that have a place in the market for us as traders. But overall, though, big bounce here. And the main dynamic here that you got to think a lot of people are watching is that level of resistance right there at the 97.80 mark. There's probably shorts that have stop losses up there that are maybe taking this short right now, thinking it could potentially roll back over, which I can see where they'd be thinking that, especially this last candle here that's forming, getting a couple of upper shadows. So point being, if the price does get up there and breaks up through it, not only are you going to have breakout players potentially buying, you could very well have shorts covering their stops or covering their short, and therefore having a buy to get out, which would create just that much more buying. So 97.80 certainly a very interesting level from that regard. In terms of levels of support, first key pullback point, I would say right down there around the 95.75 mark, so keep an eye on that. And then, more so from definitely an overarching standpoint is going to be that pink line. But I do admit right now that pink line is relatively irrelevant right now, given how far down away the price is. But again, just making that comment from more so a bigger picture point of view. Next one here, MSFT, which same general idea, but a little bit different. Now, granted, they had earnings, but opening 30 minutes broke down below that 200 period moving average. It was looking like a disaster, and then that quick turnaround. But the bounce does make a little bit more sense when you just throw in this area of support right there. So again, the power of charts. Are they perfect? No, but what a coincidence. It bounced from there before, and then all of a sudden it happened to bounce from there once again. So charts are not perfect, but they, like I said, certainly have a place, so get signed up for that class. Now, as far as resistance levels are concerned, the main level here that I think a lot of people will be watching is going to be that trend line right there, which the price did break through a couple times, but could never maintain it. But nonetheless, the good news is that the price is still well within striking distance of it, so maybe it gives it another good push, and then that's, finally the key breakout area. If there are any sort of pullbacks, then yes, you have that level down there at 231, but that's more so the bigger picture point of view. In terms of a near-term level of support, I'd keep an eye right down there around that $238 mark. And then finally, TQQQ, which is an ETF that follows the NASDAQ. So if you believe that the NASDAQ market as a whole will rise, so will this one. Big difference here. It just allows you access at a much lower price point. And like the Tesla and Amazon and Microsoft, all tech stocks, this one measures the NASDAQ. Very, very impressive bounce here. But it's still all about, let me extend this out because this is still going to be a level of support now at the $21 mark. So $21 remains that key level of support. But yeah, great move. There's no doubt about it. You can't argue that. But still, it's all about that level there, which I've talked about before, right there at $21.90. Can the price get up through there and stay up above it? I would certainly say that the price is once again within striking distance. Does that mean that it's going to go back up there on Thursday? It does not, but I don't think that's very far-fetched. Now, when the price was down here, if you would have said, oh, I think the price is going to go up there and do battle, I would have said, nah, probably not. But and while I would have been right because it didn't do battle, I would still have been wrong in the sense of I would never thought that it would have gotten that close like it did. So $21.90 is going to be potentially in play on Thursday. So let's see if the price can get up there and fight through it. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, like I said, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free training. It'll be very soon, Thursday, January 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, do two things for me. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things communicate to me that you enjoy. And as long as I know that people are enjoying, I will continue to put in the required time and effort to get this content out to you. So again, get signed up for that free training. Hit that like button, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.